All right, what you need in the building. I'm what you need. You're watching my channel. If you like what you see, and don't forget you can like, share, subscribe. And we're about to talk about King Ryan, why he's so special. And before I get into this, all praise be to the Most High God. The Most High God comes first. I know it's been like 14 minutes into the feed, and then, I haven't said anything. It's because I wanted to get the feed in on time, but I was doing some other things before I could get to you guys. So we're here. Now, caveat one, there's going to be an interruption. You're going to hear some noise in the background. That's because there's some repair work being done in that section of the house to the bathroom area. So there's some construction being done in the house. So you're going to hear some noise. Okay. I'm what you need. You're watching my channel. My eyes are a little puffy and stuff. So I'm putting on the shades for the sake of that. All right. Let's get into it. What makes Ryan Garcia so special? And I don't mean special in the sense of, he's so special. I'm not talking like that. I'm talking about he's really special in an interesting way. So we want to get into that right now, right? I'm going to show you something about King Rye. King Rye really has already done quite a lot, when it comes to prize fighting. And then we're going to talk about a couple other fights like Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev. We're going to talk about Deontay Wilder versus Ziling Zhang. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. So let's get into it. You guys can donate to this channel. You can donate to the channel through PayPal. Support this channel through PayPal. The link is in the chat. It's pinned at the top of the chat, as well as it is also found in the description. In addition, I got some questions here, but it's not going to display on the screen, but it's still there. Who you got winning this fight? And two, can King Rye win by fighting aggressively but dirty? So those are the questions I have in the chat. You guys can feel free to answer them, engage it, in the chat. Now, what I want to talk to you guys about real quick is some figures I've seen and some similarities between King Rye and Mr. Face of Boxing, sort of like Mr. Cash Cow of boxing, Mr. Canelo Alvarez. Okay, there are some similarities between King Rye and Canelo Alvarez. I'm going to show you what they are. I like to show, right? Y'all know that. What you need likes to show. Okay. Flip the phone this way. Make it bigger. Yeah, that's good. So, Ryan Garcia, at the age of 24, is one of several. Can you guys still hear me? Can you hear me? Or is the background noise making a lot of noise? Give me feedback. Let me know if you guys can hear me or if the background noise is drowning out everything. Okay, I think we're talking above the noise. So I'm just going to show you guys something. Ryan Garcia, I'm sure you guys can see this pretty clearly. Ryan Garcia is one of only two boxers in the entire history of boxing to, on his first pay-per-view, headlining his first pay-per-view card, I don't know if you guys can hear me. That noise is just so loud. It's extremely loud where I am. So I'm gonna hold back for a minute. Hold on for 1 second. I'm sorry about that, guys. I didn't expect this to happen this morning, but that's what it is. It is what it is. Okay, the guy's done. All right, so yes, Ryan Garcia is one of only two boxers in the history of boxing to have their first pay-per-view over a million pay-per-view buys. The other boxer who did this at around the same age is Canelo Alvarez at the age of 23. So Ryan was 24, Canelo was 23. And Ryan Garcia faced the best, well, one of the best lightweights in the world, Gervonta Tank Davis. And that broke it broke records for the year. It was, I think, the highest grossing pay-per-view of that year. The other fighter to do that was Canelo Alvarez. And here it is right here. That was Canelo's first pay-per-view. It was against Floyd Mayweather. And he did 1 million more pay-per-view buys than Ryan Garcia. So Ryan Garcia is a very, very special fighter because his very first pay-per-view, he garnered over You're gonna have to excuse me, people. I mean, I'm very sorry about this, but this is what it is. Right. So, other than Canelo Alvarez, Ryan Garcia is the only other boxer in the history of boxing to win their first pay-per-view. Remember, Floyd, Tank, Devin Haney, Terrence Crawford. Yeah, Terrence Crawford. You have Canelo, not Canelo. You have Oscar De La Hoya. All these people never had the kind of pay-per-view that Ryan Garcia. They never debuted in their pay-per-view debut, making over a million pay-per-view buys. Nobody, except for Canelo Alvarez. In that fight that Canelo Alvarez had, Canelo had a lot more experience, a lot more championship experience, a lot more fights. when he faced Floyd Mayweather, but he wasn't ready for Floyd Mayweather, and he lost that fight. Now Ryan Garcia, he never been a world champion. He was working his way up to it. He fought Javante Tank Davis. He got stopped in that fight, or he quit in that fight. But they made record paydays. Him and Tank made record paydays. And Ryan Garcia is the only fighter in the history of boxing to not be a world champion and to rake in that kind of pay-per-view. So Ryan's in a whole special niche of his own as he goes into fighting Devin Haney. The second point that makes Ryan very special is the fact that Ryan appeals to a demographic, unlike Canelo Alvarez, who appealed to a boxing demographic exclusively. Ryan appeals to the general pop demographic because he started doing these sort of reality kind of TV stuff with YouTube, where you can see into his life and his daily movements. Ryan has become something of almost like a reality show host or personality, and so Ryan let people into his life, sort of like certain aspects of his life, and so because he does that on Twitter, social media, etc., he's extremely popular. All right. So Ryan is a little different to just about everybody else. Raleigh Romero never did great pay-per-view. He did okay pay-per-view. He did. I mean, he had the highest pay-per-view buys, I think, until Ryan came on the scene. Nobody else can compete with Ryan Garcia in terms of pay-per-view buys, in terms of an attraction. Now, whether or not the pay-per-view buys for this fight, Ryan versus Devin Haney, they reach, over 1 million pay-per-view buys is another story. Okay, that it's dirt cheap. The pay-per-view for this fight is dirt cheap. So I'm gonna actually purchase a pay-per-view myself because it's just way too cheap. I'm definitely gonna purchase one. And I think you can purchase outside of the zone, and you can purchase also with the zone. So we'll see. I think I'm going to purchase this pay-per-view. If I have enough money, I'm going to purchase this pay-per-view. Now, with respect to Ryan Garcia and pay-per-view buys, we don't know where Ryan Garcia will reach in terms of pay-per-view buys for people at this fight. But even so, I want to show you guys how rare it is to cross that $1 million pay-per-view buys attraction. So when we look at Canelo Alvarez here, all right, when we look at Canelo Alvarez's career here, all right, there you go. You can see after his very first initial pay-per-view, where he did 2.2 million pay-per-view buys, when he fought his next opponent, the pay-per-view buys fell drastically lower. Canelo versus Anguilla, 350 pay-per-view buys. 350,000 pay-per-view buys. Canelo versus Lara, 300,000 pay-per-view buys. But when he faced Miguel Cotto, who was a pay-per-view star and a pay-per-view draw, it went up to almost 1 million pay-per-view buys. When he fought Khan, 600,000 pay-per-view buys. Smith, 300. When he fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., it went up to 1 million pay-per-view buys. The only other fights where he reached 1 million pay-per-view buys was his 2 fights with Golovkin, not the third one. Okay, Canelo has not had a fight where he has crossed 1 million pay-per-view buys since his second fight with Golovkin. In other words, after all of his career, Canelo's only had 4 pay-per-view fights where he crossed over 1 million pay-per-view buys. 4. So it's extremely rare to get over 1 million pay-per-view buys. Now, in addition to this, I want to say something else. Now, I know the ticket prices have dropped, and I also know that the pay-per-view buy, at least if you are subscribing to the Zone, the pay-per-view buys have dropped. The pay-per-view has dropped. Now I don't know if you have to buy through some other site or some other source what the pay-per-views would be. So that's a good question. But I know the pay-per-views have dropped as well for this fight. But the thing about Ryan Garcia that makes him very interesting, in addition to all that I just said, is this. Ryan Garcia's career as a boxer will not end after this Devin Haney fight. He's so lucrative that he will get opportunities to face guys like Rolly Romero in a non-championship fight. Mind the way, with Gervonta Tank Davis, that fight was for a paper championship at the time because Devin Haney was actually the WBA champion. Tank was the secondary world champion or regular world champion of the WBA. So it wasn't even for a real title. This is going to be very interesting. This fight against Devin Haney is going to be Ryan Garcia's first legitimate title shot at a world title. This is his first legitimate title shot at a world title. Okay? Not against Tank. Against Tank, it was for a paper championship. Against Devin Haney, it's for the legitimate WBC world title, the prestigious WBC world title. Okay? So that's another very important point to realize. Ryan Garcia has not even been in a world title, a real world title match, and he's already grossed. Think about what I was saying. He's already grossed over $30 million. He's already done pay-per-view where he's crossed 1 million pay-per-view buys. Now, having said that, remember what I just showed you with Canelo. It doesn't mean his next set of pay-per-view buys are going to be $1 million. Now, against Devin Haney, who's a great threat, if people can see a way how Ryan Garcia could make this fight very competitive, which I think it's going to be. I think Ryan's going to fight. Now that I look at what Ryan's doing when he's training, etc., I'm beginning to realize Ryan is going to be like Marcos Maidana. He's not going to give a fuck, and he's going to come. He's going to be bringing the heat. I see he's doing a lot of ab work, a lot of core body strength to keep him. He needs to have high work rate. He needs to be able to throw a lot of punches. Because Ryan has a good knowledge also of boxing, Ryan Garcia is also going to be able to be tactical at times and be able to set up his counters. If Ryan fights dirty, if Ryan doesn't give a flying F, if Ryan goes in there and brings the pressure to Devin Haney and at times goads Devin Haney into coming after him, Ryan will make this fight into a fight, not a boxing match. And that's where he'll have his advantage. Because when it comes to boxing, Devin Haney's going to outbox him. So he has to put the heat on Devin Haney. Like I said, Floyd Mayweather versus Marcos Maidana is the model. Gustavo Levos came straight out and he came straight at Richardson Hitchens. And Ryan has to do the same. And he has to be willing to take a shot and give a shot. He has to be able to bulldoze Devin Haney, rough him up, knock him down, kick him, knee him, butt him, bite him, elbow him, rough him up. Don't let him. He has to really rough up Devin Haney. And I think that's the mindset that Ryan's going into this fight with. And why everybody's thinking, oh, he's crazy and stuff. He's not crazy. He knows exactly what he's doing. Okay, so and that's the way how he has the best shot at winning. But he has to make sure he doesn't get DQ'd. That's the important thing. He must not get DQ'd. But he got to make it a rough and rugged. There's no other way. He has to make it a rough and rugged fight for Devin Haney. He has to make it rough and rugged. And that will increase his chances. Now, let me say something. And listen, I thought Marcos Maidana versus Floyd Mayweather 1 was a hella entertaining fight. Okay? We're going to know how tough Devin Haney is. We're going to see what he's built of. Because Ryan's going to push him to that. I think Ryan's going to push him to that point. For definitely. And Ryan's kind of bulked up and he's got some mass. I think he's going to make weight. But I truly believe Ryan Garcia, if he uses that strategy, if he uses those tactics, if he makes Devin Haney rush, if he makes Devin Haney not get into his rhythm, he can't get into his rhythm, he can't get nothing going. He can't get no offense, nothing going. Ryan is going to what we call he's going to interrupt Devin Haney, and he's going to make Devin Haney not be able to fight the fight that he wants to fight. Okay, there was something else I wanted to show you guys before I come to the end of the stream. One second. All right, so I'm just gonna up my vocals. Hopefully, you can hear me amidst this noise. If you can't hear me amidst the noise, well, sorry about that. But let me tell you why it's not the end. It's not the end of Ryan Garcia's career if he loses to Devin Haney, and particularly if he loses in a very interesting, entertaining fight. Ryan Garcia, there's a highly anticipated fight which will make money. Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero. That's a fight that is on the cards, and it's a fight that will make both guys money. Okay? So that's one thing. The second thing with Ryan Garcia is if Ryan Garcia gets beat by Devin Haney, or if he wins, it doesn't really matter which one, everybody in the division is going to be calling him out because everybody will want a piece of it. All right? Mainly because he's a cash cow as well, especially if the pay-per-view does well and last minute people buy tickets and the place is sold out. The last thing I got to say about Ryan Garcia is this. And even if the pay-per-view does like 350 pay-per-view buys, 400, 500 pay-per-view buys, they still will want Ryan Garcia because there ain't nobody out here right now doing those kinds of numbers. Nobody. Except for Tank. And we're not sure if Tank will make those numbers without Ryan. Pitbull Cruz will want to face Ryan Garcia. Pitbull Cruz actually called out Ryan Garcia. He would love to have a fight with Ryan Garcia. So it's not like Ryan Garcia will not have fights. And it's not like he's not going to have opportunity to win a world champion somewhere, a championship somewhere, right? But Ryan Garcia's already started off with a flaming fire against Tank Davis. He's like the money man. And we're going to see how much his influence will be in this fight. But again, now this is a top tier guy, Devin Haney. Okay. Devin Haney has had 4 pay-per-views now. He's had 2 pay-per-views in Australia, and he's had 2, weak to moderate pay-per-views in the US. So the question is, Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia, what will be the final ticket prices? I'm sorry, the final ticket sales, and what will be the final pay-per-view numbers? That is going to be very important. Now, a lot of people are underestimating this fight. Ryan Garcia knows Devin Haney. Devin Haney knows Ryan Garcia. If Ryan Garcia, as I said before, fights a bit dirty and he is, kind of not reckless, but he's not tight and he's not worried about the event. He's just coming out there to throw hands, and he's bullying Devin Haney, and he's trying to, he's being very aggressive. Okay. I think that Ryan Garcia is going to have a great chance in this fight. And Devin Haney, they're saying that if Ryan Garcia comes forward and he tried to bring the heat to him, that Devin Haney will counter him and knock him. But I'm saying right now, if Ryan Garcia's job, if he's hell bent on bullying Devin Haney, if he takes a punch here or there, fine. But and roughing him up. Most importantly, roughing him up, slam him down on the ground, elbow him, butt him, whatever it takes. But don't be blatant with it, so you don't get DQ'd. Because Ryan Garcia needs to be able to say, "Hey, you ain't knocking me out in this fight. That ain't happening." He's got to have that attitude. I think that Ryan Garcia will do well. The fight will go the distance. And Devin Haney will have to make adjustments. Devin Haney will have to fight Ryan Garcia, and we're going to see what we will get from there. We'll see what we get from there. It'll be a very exciting fight if Ryan uses that approach, just directly come out there and really start throwing hands. But it's important that Ryan Garcia understands that he has to still be, smart and shrewd with it. Don't just go out there and throw hands. So you go out there and you kind of don't give a flying F, but at the same time, you're also trying to do self-preservation. You know what I mean? So if he catches you with something, then you do the self-preservation thing. You jab him to keep him off, and you step back, and now you're baiting him in to get something on him, to land something on him. You know what I mean? So Ryan has to be able to do that yin and yang, as they say. And if he has that nice balance, he's going to make the fight extremely competitive, and he's going to shock a lot of people. But he has to be rough. He has to be rugged. He's got to try to F up, Devin Haney using rules outside of the rules of boxing. Use MMA if you can. Use your grappling. Use all those kinds of tools. Use the things outside of boxing to make Devin Haney uncomfortable, to get him out of his stride. So, quite frankly, I think Ryan's in a very special position in this boxing because he's made a lot of money already. He's got a lot of fights lined up after this fight. He can pick and choose which fights he would want to fight, whether it's against Pitbull, whether it's against Raleigh. And I think that Ryan knows this. And what he's trying to do is build up a fan base, build up even more support for him in the long run. And I think he's like I said before, I think he's very special. He's in a very special position right now. But people are going to want to fight him because he's the money man. He is a money man. And I think he's a bigger money man than Tank, because Tank, in his first pay-per-view, Tank wasn't making that kind of money. And the only other person who did that was Canelo Alvarez. Okay. Now we'll see what Ryan's pay-per-view will be, and that will tell us, exactly what position he is in. Anyways, I am what you need. You were watching my channel. If you like what you've seen, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I'm sorry for all the interruptions and all the problems that we ended up with, but we're in the middle of construction. I'm in the middle of doing some other things. So I decided to take time out to talk about King Rye. Because King Rye he's actually in a pretty good position, to face the biggest and the best, and just continue to do that. And I think he's going to give us a great performance. I think Ryan's going to give us a great performance. And we'll see if Devin Haney can rise to the occasion. I think Ryan's going to give us all kinds of things. He's going to make the fight very interesting. And he talked about biting Devin Haney's ear. I don't think he should bite Devin Haney's ear, but I do think he needs to try and throw Devin Haney out of his game. To be able to do that, you're going to have to use some things outside of the Marcus of Queensberry rules, definitely. So we'll see how that goes. As for Devin Haney, I hope he's aware of this. I hope he's thinking about this, because he's talking about knocking out Ryan Garcia. Okay. But just remember, Ryan Garcia's coming to fight. He's not coming to box. He's coming to fight. So if Ryan understands that, we're going to be all right. If he don't understand that, oh, yeah, he's going to be in for a night. He's going to be in for a night, because Ryan going to get physical with him, real physical with him. So that's what I got for you guys. I am what you need. Peace.